have been on a campaign for the last several weeks, almost a month at this point, I think, talking about your ex-boyfriend, saying how he never takes accountability, doesn't address anything. You don't take accountability for this. Pot, meat, kettle.
Screenshots from your past. Screenshots that you'd forgotten about. Screenshots that who would have thought would have come back to bite you. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm the eldest Gen Z. So I had an entirely different plan for today's video. I thought that I might be talking about annoying AI commercials or about this textbook with an interesting case in it. And then I remembered this is my channel. So we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. So if you're not as chronically online as I am, be sure to follow me over on TikTok. You may not know that over the last few weeks, over the last month, a somewhat well-known influencer by the name of Brooke Schofield came online in a very Risa Tisa-esque fashion, revealing the multitude of reasons why she and her ex, Kane, are no longer together. She tells the harrowing tale of realizing all of the lies that he espoused over the course of their relationship, including, but not limited to, faking an accent, proclaiming that his mother died, proclaiming that his entire family died, and a slew of other things meant to convince the woman sitting in front of him that he was who he said he is. And TikTok really came out in droves for Brooke. The internet was really on her side, really, you know, power to the people, woman to the woman. And it really raised a lot of videos and commentary from other people sharing their experiences of dealing with problematic exes, particularly problematic men. So the internet really came out in support of Brooke. She had us all, we were in it. We were there with her, 2 a.m. crying on the bathroom floor. We were there. Brooke was becoming an exemplar of why women should band together and speak their truth. There was a feeling of solidarity that was building among women online. There was a feeling of justification, of standing for Brooke. And anytime that happens, the downfall is always difficult. And then an unexpected turn. Screenshots appear, reflecting, in my own perspective, some of the more concerning perspectives. The use of slurs, bit of some H-phobia dropped in there, definitely some R-ism dropped in there. At this point, you might be asking yourself, have we been here before? Yes. Yes, we have.
For those saying, oh, maybe she didn't know what she was saying was racist, she literally had a tweet that said, I said so many racial slurs last night, I'm surprised I made it back into America.
There's the being raised to believe a certain thing. That's part one. Part two is having the character to demean and belittle and promote that belief to other people. That is a part two. And I know a lot of people who grew up a certain way who never made it to part two.
When you start to blow up on the internet, you don't start thinking about some of the things that could come back to haunt you. Like for me, I lost an SD card in 2014. That shit haunts me every single day. Like if somebody found that, I'm in trouble. So for y'all to not be thinking about all the racist shit y'all was tweeting, not even like less than 10 years ago, is wild.
The justification subsequently provided, it was given dry. It was given stay out in the sandy desert because we don't want your water. What does that mean? Don't know, but that's how this moment in social commentary history makes me feel. Yeah.
Being racist is not a rite of passage. It's not a necessary step in your journey through adolescence. You don't have to say really terrible racist things to understand that it's bad to say really terrible racist things. This is not me trying to discourage people who have had racist beliefs in the past from learning and growing. It is to discourage people who have had racist beliefs in the past from excusing it with just, being young and dumb. Because there are so many of us who have been young and also dumb without being racist. And we don't have our youth acknowledged when we are the recipients of those beliefs. So maybe the people who have never had to be on the receiving end shouldn't jump to use that as an excuse or justification for the people on the opposite side.
If you feel a sense of connection to that person and to that person's story, admittedly, it can be really hard when we learn something less positive about that person. And then, of course, there's the parasocial aspect where we actually don't know this person. We just know the parts of themselves that they choose to share with us. And so whenever information comes out that does not support the version of that person that we built up in our head, it can be really hard to dismantle that version.
I kind of have a hot take about this Brooke Schofield situation, and I'm sure I'm going to get canceled for this, but I don't care. I'm so tired. Are you guys not tired of this shit? It's literally like every few months we have a new influencer to cancel.
So when information is revealed about a person, even if it doesn't match our existing narrative, interrogate that. Interrogate, ooh, I got this new information. It's making me feel frustrated. It's making me feel sad. It's making me feel exhilarated. And interrogate that. But so many of us struggle to do that. And makes sense. Life is much easier when it's boom, boom, bang. You know, cut and dry, ABC 1, 2, 3. I think it is possible to both relate to her terrible experience with her ex and also express a desire for that person to do better.
I really liked Brooke's little story about Clinton Kane. I fully believe it. And I'm glad that came out before all this stuff about her tweets came out because I enjoyed that.
Here, in recent months, my TikTok algorithm in particular has been feeding me more clips about Brooke Schofield and about her business partner and best friend, Tana, and about their podcast, the Canceled Podcast, and about their recurring guest, Trisha. And as I've come across these clips, I have found many of them funny, entertaining, relatable. And it has become easy to shift back in my mind why a couple years ago I intentionally would swipe past certain individuals in this group of 3. And as this information has come up about Brooke, I'm reminded that's why people didn't like her business partner. That's why people don't like that reoccurring guest on her show. Call it what you want. Tale as old as time. Birds of a feather.
For example, in 2011, Trisha posted a video in which she rapped the N-word. She also posted racist content. She shared skits, including a quote-unquote Japanese character named Trishi, which is pretty much as offensive as you're thinking.
That's why. Doop. And for me, it's really... there's a lot of things that were shared in the tweets that have now, come out about Brooke. From 2015, 2016, 2017. And they espouse many things, all of which I find sad and disappointing. The one that stands out to me most is in regards to TRAYVON Martin. If you don't know, about a decade now, this innocent 17-year-old teenager happens to be a Black young man walking home with candy in his hand or in his pocket or whatever it was, with a hood over his head, and he gets shot down on a Florida street by a man who walks free today. That's the gist. And I remember watching these clips on the news over and over again because I was also in high school during this time. I remember arguing on Facebook with classmates of mine, people who went to school with me, about why that action was so unjust. I was staying with my grandma over a weekend. I remember crying myself to sleep on her couch that weekend after engaging in this really passionate, frustrating debate with someone on Facebook who I went to school with, who I would have to see the next Monday, who was arguing with me about why that teenager deserved to have to not see tomorrow.
But what about those of us on the receiving end? Okay? Where's our grace? We don't ever have the chance to be unknowing. We don't ever have the chance to learn. We just always have to know. We always have to be aware. We don't ever get the chance to be ignorant. We always have to be ready to face racism and bias and bigotry. Are we just supposed to sit on our hands and wait while you figure out if you're going to be racist forever or not?
You know, I remember when the verdict for George Zimmerman came in and how devastated I was. Like, even now, I'm getting goosebumps. And I was lucky enough to be surrounded by so many amazing young Black activists for the founding weekend of Black Youth Project 100. And here we are, you know, a group of 18, 19, 20-year-olds sitting in a conference room, watching the verdict come in and just being devastated. I think a little of us had a little hope that maybe justice would show its face. And when it didn't, we made this statement.
To the family of Brother TRAYVON Martin and to the Black community, may this statement find us in the spirit of peace and solidarity. We know that justice for Black life is justice for humanity. Our hope and community was shaken through a system that is supposed to be built on freedom and justice for all. We understand that we need to turn anger into action and pain into power.
I say all of this to say, I am sick and tired of influencers who have made a platform off of exposing and talking about their lives and being able to articulate when they have been harmed. But when it's time to face the fact of the harm they've inflicted on other communities, especially as something as devastating as the unaliving of a young Black man who his only crime was being Black and walking in his neighborhood, it's extremely frustrating.
And so for me, seeing these tweets from this woman who is the same age as me and knowing what I felt and what I was capable of articulating at that time in high school, and knowing what she was capable of articulating, tells me everything I need to know. Because in her subsequent apology to all of this coming out, the primary theme to me is justification rather than apology. It's justification for why she would have had such opinions at that time. It's justification for why her family would have had such opinions at that time.
Hey, she threw them grandparents under the bus quick as hell.
I get that you don't remember like everything that you ever write on the internet, but some of the stuff that I'm seeing from like Brooke Schofield's tweets, you had to have known that you wrote that kind of stuff. It looked like this was like a daily occurrence, that these tweets would just have racist, phobic, misogynistic shit in them. How do you not remember?
So Brooke, what did she say?
I feel the same way about them that you do. I think they're so disturbing, they're wrong, they're horrible, and they're disgusting. I want to talk about particularly the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman situation. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all, and so I'm trying like to be really careful about that. White Nepo baby, like a little like spoiled brat, like, and that was not my situation. And my parents were addicts, so I was adopted by my grandparents when I was like 10, and I grew up with them from that point on. And as is true for a lot of grandparents, they're a little bit less progressive than a lot of us are now. Me and my grandpa, and he is a very, very right-wing conservative. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all. Rush Limbaugh, like if you guys know who that is, like playing literally all day long through the house, and that was just like the only thing ever that I had been exposed to.
There's the being raised to believe a certain thing. That's part one. Part two is having the character to demean and belittle and promote that belief to other people.
A lot of you guys have also seen my mom's Twitter because she was responding back and forth about the Trayvon Martin situation. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all. Again, sometimes you like have these people that you like put on a pedestal and you think everybody older than you is smarter than you and knows everything, and they do not. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all. I'm sorry, very, very sorry to anybody who is hurt by the tweets, because obviously they are very hurtful. Like a lot of it is just like what, like why would I even say that? And I apologize for not having said something sooner. I just felt like I was getting these messages from people who like were hurt by them, and I felt like by bringing more attention to it, I was just going to be hurting more people. I need you to know that like is not how I think, that is not what I believe, and I am 27 years old now. I've had so much time to like learn and grow and like formulate my own opinions, and they are nothing like they were when I was 17, 18 years old.
Using this excuse of, oh, she was only 17, or oh, it was a different time. Trayvon Martin was literally only 17 whenever that happened to him. So how does she have the right to take away his ability to be a child at 17, but then everyone else keeps placing on, oh, she was just 17, she was just that. No, where was that for him?
Failed to answer is how a 17-year-old black boy, according to Brooke, was a grown man but Brooke at 18 making these tweets was a child.
So they'll say maybe she didn't know what she was talking about. She didn't know the facts of the case. Valid. If she didn't know the facts of the case, then she shouldn't have been tweeting about it.
Some of the tweets I was like 18 and people are like, yeah, like she was old enough to know better. Like it wasn't until like even after college that I really started to like shift my way of thinking.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't most people graduate college around 22 to 24? So you are 27 right now, and you are trying to convince me that the racism ran away, just cleared out your body just 3 to 4 years ago?
It's justification for why she chose to put that on the internet.
And I don't care how old you were, I don't care what community you grew up in, for you to take those views and put them online, you knew what you were doing.
And while yes, we are the product of our environment, we also have the ability to independently discern, to collect evidence, process through it, and respond.
The thing about Brooke Schofield and this apology is that her apology is incredibly useless. She spends the entire time trying to explain to us all about how actually her parents are addicts and her grandparents raised her and her grandparents are of a different generation and they didn't know better and they raised her to then also not know better. Except in real time, when Brooke was like 18 and she was tweeting, she talks about how she's saying really offensive stuff and knows it. So there's no world where both of those things can be true. You can't not have known better because you were raised by racists, but then also know that what you were saying and doing is racist. Those two things are not compatible. And I know for a fact that she knows what she was saying was wrong because you can see in this tweet right here, she says, I said so many accidentally racist things last night. So she knows that she has some sort of negative, wrong biases.
Are any of us perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. And also, we have the capacity to learn. We have the capacity to do better. Fitting that her initials are BS.
I actually do not think that Brooke's apology was sincere at all, and I do not think she was sorry, because this was posted 1 hour ago, and Brooke Schofield has liked it. Here's it zoomed in so that you can see. 1 hour ago, Brooke Schofield. Okay, so no, I don't think that that was a sincere apology. I don't think she's sorry.
Liking a post featuring Donald Trump nearly 24 hours after her lackluster milquetoast apology is wild.
Imagine if I hated women and I have all these tweets about how much I hate women and it's LOL. Yeah, I drove like a woman today. Oh, I said so many misogynistic things. I'm surprised they let me into the women and gender studies class. Then you scroll through my Instagram feed and I'm not pictured with a single woman. Thousands of photographs, thousands of pictures of me in public spaces with other people, and there's not a single woman over the course of almost 10 years. Then I do a podcast with someone else that has all these inflammatory tweets about how much they dislike women. They've said fuck women multiple times on YouTube. They have tweets talking about here goes my pet woman, or I'm disappointed when people like women. And that's who I'm doing a podcast with. That's who I've linked up with. So both me and my co-host have openly expressed how much we dislike women and how happy we are that Roe v. Wade passed. And how if it was men that experienced that, baby, it wouldn't be an issue. But do I think that you still hold a lot of the same thoughts? Absolutely. Otherwise, you wouldn't be freaking out like this. You would understand that you need to let us tug on your wig a little bit for being hateful to us.
What has me questioning is what learning has been done since that time. Books, what classes, what podcasts, what new friendships, what new conversations have you engaged in over the last decade to counteract what you initially espoused? That's what matters to me today.
One thing I gotta say about this whole Brooke Schofield's tweets is I just found out about them with the rest of the world. However, one thing I took notice of a few months ago is when Tana brought up and her saying, you know, she felt like it was too dystopian for them to be sitting on this couch and talking about whatever and not mentioning what was happening over in the entire time that Tana talked about this, which was a good 5 to 7 minutes, Brooke said nothing. And they would shoot to wide shots. Any other time they're talking, she'll be like reacting or emoting or anything. But this time, nothing. Let me show you. This was her face. That was her face. The entire time Tana was talking about.
Accepting her apology on behalf of others. As they say, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. If you are not a part of the community that she was disparaging, if you are not a part of the communities that she was disparaging,
the apology is not for you. You were not the group of people affected by these tweets, so don't get in her comments talking about some, oh, we forgive you, you were just young, da 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 da.
Brother, maybe don't.
Use this as the I love Brooke button. The apology that should have been addressed to us should be accepted by us.
I don't even know that I believe quote unquote canceling is a thing. I think it really comes down to accountability for past action and retribution, better action going forward. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Where do you think Brooke can go from here? What would you like to see from her? Do you think that Clinton's actions outweigh Brooke's? Do you think it's all apples and oranges? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.